Welcome to the Glenn Beck program. We've made it to yet another weekend. It's Friday, and I'm about to get your weekend off to a really good start. Here goes. According to the Heritage Foundation, it cost you $146 million just in the last year to pay for the flight upgrades of federal employees who said they wouldn't fly coach. Hello, America. Welcome to Friday. We're wrapping up our week of trying to develop some sort of a plan. I'm working on some different ideas. We have to fundamentally change, but the first thing we have to do is fundamentally change our thinking. Faith, hope, and charity. We need to be those things to be able to survive. And then we need to think out of the box. The old ways aren't going to work anymore. Do you remember this pledge from Barack Obama?
Absolutely, we need earmark reform, and when I'm president, I will go line by line to make sure that we are not spending money unwisely.
Okay. See, I think that's what people, when they voted for change, this is what they were looking for. They were looking for common sense. But we haven't gone line by line. We had earmarks, and they're doing nothing but adding to the budget. There's no subtracting whatsoever. We have added $1 trillion in just health care. Nearly $1 trillion in stimulus. And he's now adding in massive tax increases. They're talking about there's no way we can do any of this without tax increases. Yes, there is. If he won't go through the budget line for line, we will. Now, it's going to take me about a year, but Cato has done a lot of this work. This week, we have been working with the Cato Institute on the budget. My plan, hopefully, will be finished. We're going to have it out maybe by September. Because there's a lot here to think out. And I had a meeting last night with a bunch of people here in New York, and we were going over it, and I said, okay, so what do you think we really need to do? And every time somebody had a suggestion, I had my own think tank, every time somebody had a suggestion, I said, oh yeah, that's what the founders said. Oh yeah, that's what the founders did. Oh yeah, that was taken out. The founders originally had that in. I mean, it's common sense. We need a restoration. This week we've been talking about the cuts that the Cato Institute has made and recommending, counting on the cuts that we made in Social Security and Medicaid. We've already found, just from the things that we've done on this program in the last week, I think pretty common sense, a lot of it. We've already found over $400 billion to trim from the budget, and we've just done a few things. All we need is commitment and common sense. But we also need an understanding. We need to have a real dialogue with Americans. Common sense would tell you that the Department of Agriculture shouldn't be there. Shouldn't we eliminate or at least severely limit farm subsidies? This was an idea that came from FDR. I mean, we all love farmers. They work incredibly hard. They feed us and the world. But 70% of the money coming through this agency, 70% go to the largest 10% of corporate farms. These are gigantic industries. These are gigantic farms. This isn't mom and pa and grandma and grandpa anymore. Why are these corporations receiving government subsidies? And by the way, do you realize that even with all the subsidies, America is no longer the world's breadbasket? How did that happen? Well, one reason is this agency pays people not to grow stuff. Now, take a look at another agency, HUD, the Office of Housing and Urban Development. This is an agency that is rocked by scandal and corruption. We waste $65 billion a year, and we spend it on things like public housing and rental subsidies. Okay, hear me out for a second. We can't afford bloated, inefficient, ineffective government monoliths. We must stop relying on the federal government for food and housing. It's doing nothing but enslaving more and more Americans, making them dependent. And if we don't stop this soon, we're never going to break free of it. Those without food and shelter, they need to be helped. But they need to be helped by local agencies, state agencies, our friends, our family, each of us, local church groups. That's the way it was in the beginning and the way it should be. They're killing charity by by disguising it as the Department of Housing and Urban Development. Then there is the Department of Commerce. This is home to important institutions such as, well, you've got the Census Bureau, which, by the way, now is being overseen by the White House. Oh, there's no trouble there. And the Patent and Trademark Office. But it's also home to unneeded programs that subsidize businesses and fund local development projects. Further, the department administers misguided foreign trade policies that try to boost exports and restrict imports. Who even knows what game we're playing anymore? The department is going to be spending $11.5 billion in 2011, or about $100 for every U.S. household. Do you even know what they do? Is there anything now that's not being subsidized or controlled by the federal government? I mean, subsidized, other than Fox News and talk radio, I can't think of anything. Then again, wow, look how successful talk radio and Fox News is, and they don't get any subsidies from the... Boy, what a weird coincidence, huh? We're always told by these groups of radicals that are in the administration and now controlling our government that the free market has or is failing. Let me tell you something. Here's the truth. It's not hate speech, it's the truth. The free market hasn't been attempted for decades. Here are just a few examples of unbelievable waste being tolerated by us. Just in from the group Citizens Against Government Waste. Remember, this is, I mean, look at this. This is your money. Almost $3 million for shrimp aquaculture research. I mean, how much it tastes good when you dip it in cocktail sauce. What's the mystery here? $2.5 million for potato research. I mean, is this to better understand our food so we can relate to it before eating it? I don't know. $206,000 for wool research. Let me help. It's itchy. It's hot. $200,000 for lobster research. Tastes good when it's hot and with drawn butter. Yummy. Done. $7 million for the Robert C. Byrd Institute of Advanced Flexible Manufacturing System. What? $500,000 for exhibits at the Czech and Slovak Museum and Library in Cedar Rapids. What about the Serb and Croatian and the Albanian exhibits? Do we not care about them, America? What kind of country are we? $250,000 for the I Won't Cheat Foundation in Salt Lake City for an anti-steroids education and awareness campaign. Because I guess people with big, huge foreheads isn't enough of a message to our kids. Don't turn into the Hulk. And parents can't handle the education about their kids with steroids. But wait, there's more. Now how much would you pay? According to the Heritage Foundation, the government wasted $72 billion, listen to this, $72 billion, in improper payments. In 2008, $100 million was wasted by the Defense Department on unused flight tickets because they never bothered to collect the refunds even though the tickets were refundable. Can you imagine running your household or your business this way? They don't give a flying crap. We were able to spend $2.6 million to train Chinese prostitutes to drink more responsible on the job. I mean, I know we all know there's nothing more annoying than a Chinese prostitute who can't focus on the job at hand, so to speak, because she's too liquored up. I mean, I think we all hate that, don't we? That's got to stop. This all has to stop. What, are we insane? Why would we do these things? Why would we take money from people in Minneapolis and then send it to Washington, D.C., so the Washington, D.C. people can then ship it off to Alaska to build a bridge to nowhere? If Alaskans want to build a bridge for $250 million to service 30 people, let them build it. That's their issue. Meanwhile, in Minneapolis, the money that's there should be going here because their bridges are collapsing. It makes no sense. You know, you can live this way for a while. I'm a recovering alcoholic, and let me tell you something. The first step to recovery is admitting that we have a problem. Hello, my name is America, and we have a problem. You have to admit it first, and then you have to do the tough things. And you better do it before all your teeth fall out. I think America has economic cancer. And really cancer that's been rotting at the Constitution as well. If we would have addressed it when we had stage 1 cancer, I mean, heck, when? Johnson? How about Reagan? When Reagan was in office, when Reagan was talking about, hey, Social Security is going to fall apart, not going to be able to do it. Maybe if we would have done something then, we could have started out changing our diet. We could have had some localized treatment. We could have phased in over 10 years or so some gradual changes. But now we've got this cancerous tumor that's, I mean, it's like on the side of our face and down our neck. We have to tuck the tumor into our shirt. And most people in Washington are walking around going, what tumor? I don't know your tumor.